IBF Target is one of the last independently developed, commercially supported pieces of PCB software. I've been using them ever since I came out of retirement, have only good things to say, and as you see here, they've just released a new version. And in this little video, I want to show you what new features you can expect. To start with the first new feature, the Target, it has a bit of a reputation for the circuits just looking kind of bad. Let's be honest, as it is. And there is one very interesting new feature, and you see here I'm now trying to erect a new connection, and I can do it at a random angle. And if I now hold pressed the shift key, I can only do 45 degrees. And if I hold the control key, I can only do 90 degrees. Or I should be able to only do 90 degrees. No, it also does 45 degrees. But this is something which they should fix shortly. Either way, you see, at least I try to make it look a little better. And now I'm creating here a bus. And the reason why I'm creating this bus is very simple. Because there is a new feature in the autorouter, which I want to demonstrate to you very shortly. Now I go into the PCB view. And this takes a bit of time because you know all the usual settings. Blah, 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 yes. And now I'm going to place the two connectors. And we see here, I've got the two connectors. And here, what do we see? We see these green lines, which are planned connections. And now, to make things a little funny, I'm going in here, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to erect like so a link. And now I push Shift and B. And now you see that the system is willing to erect a bus. And if I now click here, for example, like so, and push return, the system will try to automatically route the bus. And this, of course, is a bit of a challenging connection. So let's try this again. Let's again select this, Shift B, and now let's just go here and push return. It complains. Let's try again, Shift B. Now I've created the guideline, and now I say again return, and we see now the result is quite a bit better. And let's try it again with a cleaner situation, like this. Again, Shift B, I put here the support line, I push enter, and now you see this worked just flawlessly in this positioning. And yes, if you have for the signals spacings, of course the system will respect this. When it comes to finding the parts on the PCB, there also is a small new comfort feature. If you mark an element and you go to the PCB, you know that it's always highlighted. But now what is new is that you see here these marching ants around the objects. So this makes the cross correlation between the various designs a lot easier. Keeping an overview of the PCB is also intended for this here. You see, if I go here into Project Components, Explorer, I get this Explorer system, and depending on what components I've got, it gives me more or less information. Here you see I can, for example, also ask for information about the manufacturer and when the package was last modified. And this you can, for example, use it to very effectively find out one specific manufacturer's parts or something like that. For the next feature, we will need to use an IBF example project. Because I cannot use commercial projects, we are going to be using dice. And now it is loading dice. And here we've got dice. And what is nice about dice is that here we've got something round. And one of the goals is to make communication easier. So now I can do Winkelbemaßen, which you see here is for angles. And as you can see here, the system now can display an information about the angle. So when somebody looks at your design, he gets information about the angle. The next very nice thing is here, if we go for production, we've got a new option called iBOM. And this generates an interactive bill of materials. So, and before we look in more detail at some of the other new features, I wanted to ask you for help. Please like, subscribe, and maybe also leave a comment telling me what's your favorite feature. IBF follows my channel and they do read your comments, so any feedback you give directly goes to their owner. So it's in your interest and in my interest. Thank you so much. As we see here, it's an HTML file, so we're gonna open it with Edge. And what we get here is this interactive, completely interactive bill of materials. So you see, I click C2 and literally C2 is highlighted over there. And I can click the parts and I get a cross highlighting. And this is just crazy because it really simplifies communicating with your PCB vendor. And this is really something which I personally believe alone justifies this upgrade. Communication with the PCB house is also simplified by this new option here, which automatically generates a BOM and a CPL file, which some vendors need, and you can now generate it automatically. And finally, if your vendor does use glue, you see here we've got these little pink points in some of the components. And these pink points are glue deposits. And you can now also, you see here, produce a glue list. Here, Kleberdispenser-Informationen. And this then generates such a CSV file, which a glue dispenser, a software-controlled glue dispenser, can ingest and just directly like a 3D printer go and place the things for you. There are of course also some other features which I'm not demoing here. First of all here, scoring, so you can penalize your PCBs more effectively. And then there are also some new Gerber import capabilities. If you import a project from another PCB software and you want to bring it up in Target, there is now some kind of heuristic support which combines the various layers more effectively. IBF is quite unique because it's not a subscription. Basically, once you buy the software, you can use it for free until the cows come home. But eventually, support stops if you don't buy an upgrade. And basically, the first sensible commercial version is economy, because that's the first one which can do 4 layers. And here you see the price with tax for the new system. And what is, however, very interesting is that you can also buy an upgrade. And you see here, I've got economy V32. And so this is the price with tax. And if I would have skipped for V30, it would have been a bit more expensive. And here you just see the development of the prices. And I believe this is quite fair, because you really have to know one thing. IBF's customer support is second to none. A few years ago, literally on Christmas holiday on the 25th, I was working on a design. I sent them an email, and I'm not joking with you. The fucking CEO responded to my email, and he didn't tell me to get bent, but he actually helped me and fixed the problem. What is nice about IBF Target is that you can install a demo version of the program even alongside your fully commercial license. So for this, you go here, you click here the download, you fill this out, and then you get a normal installation assistant, which you just run as normally. And what is important is that here you can allow it to take the settings. You can click Übernehmen, and then it just takes the settings, and it will start up with a new version of. The only thing which is really, really important when you are using your Discover version, you see, it uses here the same commercial files which you would normally get in a commercial system. And it is super important that you never open these, because otherwise the licensing system will cause you problems. Software thinkers always say that maintaining an existing program is in many ways like shaking a cube of ballistic gel. And in the case of V33, I'm happy. I have to say that from my point of view, the changes mostly are unannoying. Target still is Target. So with that, I thank you for your attention and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.